Hello, it's me again, and I'm back. I I don't know. I just woke up from my nap, so I'm a little yeah. Um, I'm doing good, and my stuff is good, and I got like lots of stuff on my shelf, and I'm just feeling really good. I haven't been feeling that great lately because there's been like weather changes and allergies and all that stuff, but today I'm feeling better, and I'm doing better, and trying to figure out if I can go to my friend's house and um I mean I can go. I'm just trying to figure out if they're available. They said they might be available between 2 and 3, so we'll find out. And my my booth has been doing good. I made booth costs, and it looks like I'm gonna get around $100 check, which is really good. And for me, especially since I've got a lot of things. I mean, only like I've still got a few days left in the month, so I can do I think 2 weekends, so I can do a little bit better maybe. We'll see. And then maybe I can get some stuff because my kids brought me some more of my stuff, and I'm having problems with storage because I've got all these boxes that I need to deal with. But the only way that I have to recycle them, they're not taking them as quickly as they need to, which is it happens. Um, it's just like I can't really do that for for reasons. So it's not like that I could go do it myself, though if I had the right equipment, I probably could. I don't really know where they put the cardboard and stuff, but if I had the right equipment, I could probably take it away myself. I just don't. It's the people that work here's job to do that, and they don't always, for whatever reason, they don't always get around to it. And it is an older building, so there are some things that pop up, like one of my outlets is making noise, and the guy came up and looked at it today, and he says that it's um, I think something jostled loose, which is a an issue with older buildings, so the older wiring and stuff like that, and it's fine. And then they were looking to see if I had a leak somewhere because one of my neighbors was saying that water was coming down again. So I showed them what I've noticed. I didn't do it when I showed him, but it was doing it last night, and I told him I don't know what's going on. He's like, oh, it's that's also a little thing, and it's probably just part of being in an older building. So yeah, I think we figured it out. I hope we figured it out. Um, I'm not trying to cause problems or anything. I'm just not really sure what's going on. This is an older building. I don't know what to expect. So, and I've noticed like the water running in the wrong spot in my apartment, but it didn't look to me like it was going into the wall. So it could have been going into the wall, and I just didn't notice. Um, or it could have been leaking when I drained it, which is another issue because older buildings. But now that we have an idea of what's going on, we can maybe fix it, and hopefully it won't happen again. Because it's like that little stuff. It's not emergency stuff. It's just little stuff. And hopefully this will be a good weekend, and I'll be um able to start feeling a little better. I've been having insomnia again. Um, I've been noticing since that big hormone shift that I've been getting insomnia really bad, usually a little bit before my period wants to start, and I'm not really sure what that's all about. I know I'm getting close to like menopause, so maybe that's part of it. I'm just really glad that I haven't had the experiences my mom had because I think she lost her mind. I mean, she wasn't exactly stable anyway, but I think she lost her mind. Um, uh, Trying to think of what else I was going to talk about. Things just seems like they're better. I may have found a charity that I can work for. I just have to get a hold of them and find out because I've been noticing that it seems like the further I'm out of the shelter, the less contact I have with my friends that are still there. And I'm not sure if it's like a jealousy thing or if they're a stress thing, or if the staff is actually telling them not to talk to me. Um, there has been a lot of really weird issues going on with the shelter, so I'm not really sure what that's about. But I do know that several of my friends who are still in the shelter have been having a really hard time with stress and like seeing people that bothering them and people are doing things and they're being accused of things and they're accusing other people of things that I know isn't happening. Um, though I think a lot of this is with a specific individual who clearly isn't understanding reality the way they need to and doesn't seem to want to deal with it. So I'm at the point with that particular individual where if you don't want to deal with your shit, then don't expect anybody else to want to deal with your shit because there's only so much I can do. I'm very pro into like helping people get better and back on their feet and all that stuff and like helping the community to be able to be more accepting and growing um and stuff like that and like things that I've noticed when I was at the shelter was that there was a lot of people who didn't seem to understand that their way of thinking wasn't exactly kosher, we'll put it, and that they didn't really understand how they might have to adjust their thinking or their behavior in order to fit in to society for those things where you have to be able to like you have to be able to fake normal for quite a few things. Like if you were to keep a job, you would have to be able to fake normal even if you're not. I was really good at doing it before I got hurt and now I can't really I can only work for so long before it starts hurting so bad that I can't fake it anymore and so yeah, that's hard, but I'm doing really well these days. I'm in a lot of pain, but I've been able to keep up with a lot of stuff and like the housework and stuff and the kids brought like I said they brought me a bunch of stuff. So they brought me some old pictures of them when they were younger. That's kind of the ages I preferred them at. Right now, it's like I don't really know what's going on, but they're getting close to 30 and they're like, we can do whatever we want. And it's like, okay, whatever. Um, so maybe it's time for us to just let each other do what we want. um, so yeah, it's not really a problem so much. It's like, huh? But we'll figure it out. It's gonna be all right. We're already starting to get more of a relationship back after all that with me getting asked to leave the house because I reported abusive behavior and so yeah, it's it's still a little there for me, but I'm hoping to look into this charity organization that might let me help them to work with them or something and see what kind of things that they'd actually want somebody like me to do. It seems to be more of an LGBTQ type of a thing, but I do know what it's like to be different. So even if I can't fully understand from their exact point of view, I do know what it's like when people go after you because they don't like who you are. They don't like what you seem to represent. They don't like you being honest. They don't like, just whatever it is that they just want to don't like about you. Because I find that a lot with the way people treat me. It doesn't seem to matter what I do, say, think, or feel with certain people that they just don't want to like me, so they're just not going to like me. And it's just like, how do I how do I how do I try to fight somebody that just doesn't like me? So you just like try to stay away from people like that because they're just it's I don't know, it's not so much that they even matter. It's like a lot of times they're like control freaks and they got this idea of how things work, even if that's not how it works, which is something I mentioned seeing in the shelter. It's that um that what I'm thinking is doesn't need to change, and like sometimes it does. And they're not homeless yet, but or there may not be a risk of them going homeless, but you still have that they're not really adjusting their thinking, so there's not really a lot of they're not going to be able to learn, so why fight it? It's one of the things I've had to learn a long time ago, is that if somebody just decides to not like me and not want to like me, and if they don't really want to tell me, um, if they don't want to tell me why they don't like me or what's going on, then I feel like that person probably wasn't really my friend, and that they probably didn't really care about me, because that's just like, if something's wrong, I feel like I would have the right to know, and I would have the right to be able to fix it. But if they're not going to tell me that something's wrong, um, then that means that they don't value the relationship, and that's just how that is. And that's, I think everybody has to deal with that from time to time, and so you just like, it's easier to let them go than to try to get them to tell you what's wrong. Um, and I think that's part of the reason why I've had so many relationships, is because, well, not, I didn't have like a whole bunch of relationships, but I'm a Christian, and I was thinking that I would grow up and meet this guy and get married, and like that'd be that, and it's no. No, that's not how it worked, and I didn't know how it worked because I was abused when I was growing up. So there's a lot of stuff that just like would be considered normal, but just, I just don't get it, and I can't get it, and people just don't understand that. Um, so that's part of the reason why I stopped dating, was because I got tired of being treated like I needed to give up everything of me for that person. And it's like, I don't need to give up my entire life. I don't need to give up my love for cats. I don't need to give up my arts. I don't need to give up my friends. I definitely don't need to give up my children. We'll have our issues from time to time, because I think everybody has problems. No matter how similar you are, no matter how good you get along, sometimes there's just something, and it's just like, you can let it be, like with family, it's like you can let it be like the end of the world, or you can deal, or you can just be like, whatever. Because that's kind of like where it is with my kids right now. I think a lot of the issues that might pop up with us right at this moment is more of a, oh my God, you're so young. What the hell? And not necessarily a, I gotta stop talking to you kind of thing. Um, I think that's where a lot of people don't get it, is they think if they're not getting their way, um, then people don't like them. But that's not necessarily the truth, because people can like you, but they can't afford to support you endlessly on different levels, like if it's emotional, if it's financial. Because I've noticed, like, one of the issues that I'd noticed right before people stopped talking to me was that I'd had several people actually try to convince me to allow them to move into my apartment, and I can't allow that. I can't allow that to happen. And then after that, they just stopped talking to me. So I'm not really sure if they're, yeah, like I said, I don't know what's going on. I do understand people wanting to get out of the shelters, because that's, even under great circumstances, it's hard to be in a place like that. You don't have any privacy. There's not enough bathrooms. There's not enough. I don't think I've ever been in a shelter that had enough staff. There's not enough financial support either. So a lot of the times, you can't, somebody like me couldn't eat the food, because not because they weren't trying, but because it just, uh, I've got these weird health issues, and if I eat the wrong things, I get super sick. And it's like, so yeah, even under good times, it can be very difficult to be in a shelter system. But you have to follow the rules, you have to do what you need to do, and you have to be able to express yourself in a way that the staff that is there can take it seriously. And if you do notice, like, because you know when there's not enough staff, like you'll notice 3 people when there should be 5, that kind of thing. um or 6, or even more. um but yeah, that kind of thing. You notice that there's less people. Like after I had the sleep paralysis thing, and people were trying to convince me that Satan dropped in and said hi, which that's not what happened. um, One of the security guards stopped showing up to work, and I did kind of wonder, since they didn't tell me what they saw on the tape, I did kind of wonder if maybe he was the person that did that, and the sleep paralysis was just a coincidence, that maybe he noticed and went to check on him, like, because he had never said anything. It was super creepy, and it really creeped me out. And it's because, like, when I had that episode, I don't think I've talked about that on here. I've had sleep paralysis before, and it's usually not scary. But when I was in the shelter, I had an episode where it was. I heard a man, woke up, and I couldn't go back to sleep because I heard footsteps. It was clearly a tall man in fancy shoes, tall, thin man in fancy shoes. He walked up right beside my bed, my bunk, and he leaned over and put his hand on my shoulder. And I have neurological problems. This is, sleep paralysis is not a new thing. But this was the first time it was ever scary because they didn't say anything. And I don't know if I went back to sleep and they left, or if I became more cognizant and the person just wasn't there. But I told the staff about it because it was like really weird. It seemed like there was actually somebody there, and that it just kept saying that I thought it was odd that they never said anything. That was the thing to me, is like, because I could think of reasons why somebody would come up to me like that and touch me, but I kept thinking that they would have said something. Staff would have said something. The couple of people that people thought it could have been would have said something, but they didn't. So, and that was weird. It's just the weird way that they'd handled it. And then I noticed right after that, one of the security guards, who was a tall, thin man who wore fancy shoes, stopped coming into work. So I don't want to accuse him because I don't know if that was a coincidence, but yeah, I just kind of thought that was weird that they just stopped talking about it instead of telling me what they saw, which would have been really helpful because a few of us were kind of freaked out about that, because then I had found out that some other people had had some similar experiences, but they didn't report it. So I may have caught somebody who had a problem, or I may have brought an issue to the staff's attention that needed to be addressed. Whether the person was actually hurting anybody or not, the behavior was a little bit creepy. But like I said, I had sleep paralysis, so there's a possibility that nobody was actually there. I've had these really strange experiences with sleep paralysis before, and there's nobody there. It seems like there's somebody there, but there's nobody there. But most of the time when I've had sleep paralysis, I actually followed a really vivid and fun dream, and that I'd usually had a conversation with whoever it was that my brain thought was there. And then when I'd come more into lucid, more awake, then I realized that that person, whoever it was I was talking to, wasn't actually there, which I knew with the lizard man that he wasn't actually there because, I mean, seriously. But like I said, like before, it hadn't been scary, and that the shelter it was, and I don't know if that was because of the energy of the shelter, or if it because that something else was going on. Because yeah, I know what sleep paralysis is, and it can be very frightening, and it's where it's really common for people like me who have neurological problems, where you're awake but you're still asleep. So it's like you're not all the way awake. You're conscious, but you're still asleep, which is a weird thing. Um, so you can have this. You can't move, but like I said, I could talk. I couldn't move my body. I couldn't turn my head, but I was having this conversation. And my son said he'd heard me talking, and he knew that something was up, but he thought I was talking in my sleep, which I don't do that often. I usually only talk in my sleep when I have a fever, or if my dream is really bad. But yeah, it was just before being in the shelter, sleep paralysis wasn't that big of a deal. I haven't really noticed any episodes with it since I've gotten into my own place, but sleep paralysis is, for me, it's only been rare. I think I've only had like 3 or 4 episodes, and I'm 50. So yeah, and there was like a year between one episode and the next episode, and then there was 6 months between the next 2, and then there was like 5 years. Yeah, I think it was like the 3 to 5 years before the next one. So it seems like if you're stressed, it's something that would happen if I was stressed out or tired, or just something going on up in here, that maybe I didn't notice because it wasn't showing symptoms. Like I said, I've noticed with a lot of the episodes I was stressed out or tired, and it almost seemed like the sleep paralysis was away from my body to let me relax. But the episode of the shelter was definitely not me relaxing. It was definitely something going on that was really different from what I normally have. So that was something that was just weird. But I'm trying to figure out how to be myself. I'm a very charitable and kind and giving person, and I'm having a hard time right now because um, it feels like no matter how kind and giving and caring I am, it just feels like people will disconnect from me, and I don't know if it's jealousy or if it's, and like I said, they're not, because they're not telling me what's going on. I can't even really bring it around to me, and my therapist says that it's probably their problem. Anyway, like my therapist and a friend of mine and somebody else has told me that they're probably jealous and there's a lot of stress so involved with being in the shelter. So they probably just don't want to hear about how great my life is right now while they're stuck in hell or a situation that can feel like hell, because it really can. There's too many people and too small of a space. Not all of them are stable, so that can really feel like you're in hell. So I don't know. I'm trying not to be too about it, but I know I need to get out and I need to be able to have friends that I can do things with, and I need to be able to be more active. I feel like I need to get my brain, if I want my brain to stop being so weird, I need to be able to go do things where I need to work on my recall, where I actually can use big words and remember things, and maybe even start practicing other languages or learning sign language, because I know I'm going deaf. I will be deaf before my vision issues, anywhere near before my vision issues create a situation where I'm blind. But I don't know sign language, so I need to learn that. I need to work on that. But so like being able to get out into the community, that would really be helpful. So I'm going to look into this charity and see if there's something that I can actually do. One of the issues is that I am disabled, so I can't do a lot of things like heavy lifting. I can't be running quickly. I can't, that kind of stuff. But I can do things like maybe they have something for me to do, craft projects or something that they want to sell, or something like that can help out. But I'm noticing it's getting a little long, and my system doesn't like it when the videos are too long, so I'm gonna have to pop off. I know it's been a little bit because I don't know, I wasn't feeling good, so I didn't want to deal with it. I don't really have that many followers, so yeah, so I'm not really at a point where I'm doing any of the things that I want to do, so I'm just sort of kind of still working on making my place more comfortable, and then maybe seeing if I can do stuff to make the situation more comfortable for other people. But there's only so much I can do. It's just little old me. And that is something that I think people really need to think about when they do want to do charity stuff. It's like, how much can you do? How much can you give? What's actually reasonable? What can people expect? So yeah, I'm gonna pop off here, and I hope you guys have a great day, and hopefully I'll be able to do another video where I can think it through a little better. Like I said, I just woke up. So I need to work a little bit more on certain things for this too, so that I can get more subscribers and more viewers. So, and as I'm learning Spokane, I might actually be able to do that. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Where's the little, there we go.